So in this example, they want us to find the formula from a graph. So they give us this graph, and then we're supposed to determine the formula for the cosine function. Now remember, because of a phase shift, it could be sine or cosine, but they're telling us to use cosine. So, and it makes sense to use that in this example. We'll talk about that in a second. So we have y equals a cosine bx minus c plus d. I mean, that's the form that we're looking at. Our normal cosine curve, you know, we don't have anything fancy going on. It goes to 2 pi, and it goes to 1 and negative 1. So it starts at 0, 1, then comes down, down, up, up. So it looks something like, well, something like that. Okay, so now we want to compare that to what we have here. Notice that you have a point at 0, 1 on a normal cosine. And here we have a point at 0, 0. Now, that says, okay, that was an extrema here. And so it's going to be an extrema here for our graph that we're doing. Now, probably the easiest thing to see is the midline. So the midline's got to go halfway between the maximum and the minimum. So our maximums are up here at 1, and our minimums are down here at 0. Okay? So we can figure that the midline is 0.5. I don't know why that came up. So D is equal to 0.5. Okay? That's the midline. Y equals 0.5 is the midline, and so that means D is 0.5. Let's see, what else do we want to do? We want to see what a period is. So from here, from this point, let's look at it this way, from this point to this point, that reflects one period, right? So just like here where we had a down and an up, that's an up and a down, but it's one period and it's 2 pi. So it looks like there is no change in the period. Okay, no change in period. And so that means B is going to equal 1. All right. One thing, though, we notice is normally we would have started up here, but it's down here. So this would have been the normal point at 0, 1, but now the point's down here. And so it's reflected about that midline. And that means our amplitude then has to be negative. This is going to have to be negative to get it to flip. Now, what is the amplitude? Well, think about the amplitude being, let's see, where can I write this? The amplitude, the absolute value of the amplitude, is equal to 1/2 the max minus the min. Well, the max is 1 and the min is 0. So that's going to be 1/2 of 1. And that's going to be 1/2 or 0.5. I'm not sure if you want to use decimals or if you want to use fractions. So kind of weird, but that's going to be your A. There's no phase shift. Because our max and our min are lining up. So we had a max on our original cosine curve at 0, and we still have, it's a min, but it's an extrema, and it's still at 0. So there's no phase shift. Okay, so then that takes care of C. C is 0. B is 1. A, this was A, is 0.5, and D is 0.5. So now we just have to put it all together. So Y is going to equal 0.5. B was 1, X, minus 0, plus, and then where's my D? 0.5. So to simplify that, though, we would just write 0.5. I forgot the word cosine. Cosine, let's squeeze that in there. Cosine X plus 0.5. And that would be then the formula. Wait, I forgot to make the a negative. So I got to put in a negative 0.5 there. Negative. Okay, there, that looks better. So y is equal to negative 0.5 cosine x plus 0.5.